Picture a tense battlefield where the clouds of uncertainty loom over a kingdom on the brink of massacre. Countless, merciless enemy forces march forward, spreading despair. Yet, in this darkest moment, an extraordinary event unfolds. A celestial angel, sent by God, appears on the battlefield, defeating 185,000 soldiers in an epic display of divine power. This miraculous act frustrates the enemy's plans and ensures the kingdom's survival. In today's video, we will delve into the details of this astonishing war. Buckle up, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join us on this incredible journey. Amid the turbulent times of ancient kingdoms, a remarkable figure emerged in Judah's reign, King Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, who ascended the throne at the tender age of 25 around 715 BC, following his father's death. However, Hezekiah's reign was more than a mere dynastic succession. From the outset, he displayed an unwavering commitment to the God of Israel. His first major endeavor was a fervent campaign to cleanse the Temple of Jerusalem. Recognizing the temple's sacred importance, Hezekiah undertook the mission to eradicate every trace of idolatry that had infiltrated its hallowed halls. Altars dedicated to pagan gods were torn down, and idols that had led the people's hearts astray were removed. Hezekiah didn't stop at merely destroying idolatrous elements. He re-established true worship of the Lord, instituting practices and rituals that reaffirmed faith in the God of Israel, restoring the temple's spiritual purity. His campaign against idolatry was not mere formality. It was a reflection of his sincere heart. His zeal for the Lord was evident, as he fearlessly confronted deep-seated practices that had diverted the nation from its divine purpose. His leadership not only reshaped temple worship, but also inspired a spiritual renewal among the people of Judah. One intriguing story involves a bronze serpent erected by Moses during the Exodus, as recorded in the Book of Numbers. This serpent was linked to divine healing, offering a cure for those bitten by venomous snakes if they looked upon it. However, over time, this bronze serpent became an object of worship known as Nehushtan, violating the fundamental principles of worshiping the one true God. When Hezekiah initiated his religious reforms in Judah, he made the bold decision to destroy the bronze serpent, severing ties with idolatrous practices. His commitment was more than an expression of religious fervor. It was a demonstration of unwavering trust in divine providence. By purifying the temple and abolishing idolatry, Hezekiah not only restored true worship, but also paved the way for divine intervention in his life and nation. The Lord responded to this act of faith with blessings, revealing himself as a God who honors those who seek him wholeheartedly. Thus, King Hezekiah's story is not just a chapter in Judah's narrative, but a lasting testament to how sincere commitment to God can transform not only a king's life, but an entire nation. Hezekiah left a legacy of faithfulness, reminding us of the importance of placing God at the center of our lives and societies. Yet, a dire threat loomed. In an era of political turmoil and constant threats, the ominous shadow of Sennacherib, the Assyrian king, hovered over Judah's borders. It was a time when nations were defined by military might, and Sennacherib led Assyria, one of the world's most powerful nations. The Assyrian army, known for its cruelty and military efficiency, posed a grave threat to neighboring kingdoms. Sennacherib, in his quest for expansion, advanced ruthlessly through Judah's cities, leaving a trail of destruction. However, his covetous eyes were fixed on Jerusalem, the jewel of the region. Hezekiah, the God-fearing king, found himself cornered by the Assyrian threat. Seeking a peaceful resolution, he tried to persuade Sennacherib to abandon his invasion of Jerusalem by offering a significant tribute, mobilizing the treasures of the temple and palace in Jerusalem. The tribute was monumental: 10.5 tons of silver and 1.5 tons of gold, a reflection of not only material wealth, but the deep desire to preserve the holy city. In his quest for peace, Hezekiah was willing to sacrifice invaluable treasures to protect his people and capital. However, Sennacherib's response revealed the typical arrogance of conquerors of the time. He scorned the offer and openly challenged both Hezekiah and the God of Israel. His defiant words echoed, claiming that just as the gods of other conquered nations couldn't stop him, the God of Israel would also be powerless against his assault. This affront not only heightened tensions, but solidified the need for divine intervention. Faced with the rejection of his peace efforts, Hezekiah turned to the only source that could guarantee deliverance: prayer and trust in the Lord. Amid the looming Assyrian threat, Hezekiah experienced intense uncertainty and doubt. The biblical account describes his initial reaction of anguish at Sennacherib's ultimatum. He tore his clothes and donned sackcloth, traditional symbols of mourning and despair in Jewish culture. Despite his desperate heart, Hezekiah's faith remained unshaken. As the shadows of invasion loomed over Jerusalem, he chose not to surrender to despair, but to elevate his plea to the God of Israel. Instead of succumbing completely to fear and uncertainty, Hezekiah took concrete steps. He went to the Lord's temple to worship, seeking God's presence amid adversity. This act reflects Hezekiah's understanding that even in the face of formidable threats, his primary trust and refuge should be in the Lord. Additionally, Hezekiah did not hesitate to seek divine guidance through the prophet Isaiah. He sent a delegation to Isaiah, clad in sackcloth as a sign of humility and supplication. In this scene of anguish, the prophet Isaiah, God's chosen spokesperson, brought a divine message to the king. Instructed by the Lord, Isaiah conveyed words of comfort and a promise of deliverance. The prophet's message was like balm to Hezekiah's troubled heart. "Do not be afraid of the words you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. I will make him return by the same way he came." Isaiah's words offered divine assurance of protection and supernatural intervention. The God of Israel would not remain indifferent to the pleas of his faithful servant. The promise was clear: the city would not fall into the Assyrian king's hands. The God Hezekiah sought in prayer was about to manifest his power in response to the trust placed in him. Furthermore, Isaiah prophesied that Sennacherib would return to his own land and meet his end by the sword there. The prophetic message not only calmed the king's heart, but reinforced his faith. Despite the enormity of the threat, Hezekiah chose to trust in the Lord's word delivered through Isaiah. This trust wasn't just a matter of military strategy, but a total surrender to the God who controls destinies. The next day, the scene was bleak as Jerusalem's walls witnessed the looming shadow of the Assyrian army, led by Sennacherib. Yet, as the city was about to face its gravest trial, a celestial chapter was about to unfold. In the darkness of the night, when silence was only broken by the distant murmurs of the Assyrian camp, a divine intervention was in motion. The Lord sent his angel, a celestial figure shrouded in light and power, to confront the army, threatening his chosen people. The angel of the Almighty hovered over the Assyrian camp like a divine sentinel. In a single night, this celestial being struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers. The battlefield beyond human comprehension witnessed a victory not achieved through human military strategies, but through the supernatural power of the angel sent by the God of Israel. The miracle went beyond a mere military defeat. It was a tangible manifestation of divine care and protection. The promise made through Isaiah was being fulfilled. The God of Israel not only heard Hezekiah's anguished prayers, but acted with unparalleled power to deliver his people from the Assyrian threat. As the residents of Jerusalem walked through the fields that once housed the Assyrian camp, they encountered a startling sight: 185,000 lifeless bodies where the enemy's tents once stood. This graphic demonstration of divine power had unfolded during the night. The silence enveloping the defeated camp was interrupted by murmurs of awe and gratitude. Each lifeless body testified to the supernatural intervention that had turned imminent nightmare into undeniable miracle. The faith of the people, who had faced a night of dread, blossomed in the morning light, now illuminated by divine victory. The citizens of Judah not only witnessed the remnants of the miracle, but felt its profound impact in their hearts. The victory over the Assyrians was not achieved through human strength or military tactics, but was the visible manifestation of divine favor. That morning transformed into a living testimony of the faithfulness of the God of Israel. Sennacherib's fate took a surprising turn. The Assyrian leader managed to escape despite the miracle's magnitude. After his failed attempts to conquer Jerusalem and his mockery of the God of Israel, he returned to Nineveh. However, his end was far from grand as he might have imagined. While worshiping in his own temple, Sennacherib was assassinated by his sons Adramelech and Sharezer. The precise details of this event remain somewhat unclear in the historical narrative. However, the Bible recounts that during this act of worship, Adramelech and Sharezer attacked Sennacherib with a sword, taking his life. This shocking event demonstrates that arrogance and disbelief before God do not go unpunished. Divine justice, in an unexpected manner, reached Sennacherib, highlighting that no king, no matter how powerful, can escape God's sovereign control over life and death. This tragic outcome reveals that mocking the Lord has serious consequences, and divine sovereignty cannot be challenged without facing repercussions. As for King Hezekiah, after the miraculous victory over Sennacherib and the Assyrian forces' retreat, he faced a severe illness. The Bible describes this situation in the second book of Kings, chapter 20. Hezekiah became so ill that the prophet Isaiah, son of Amoz, came to him and announced that he would not recover and should prepare for death. Faced with this news, Hezekiah once again turned to the Lord in prayer. He reminded God of his devotion, integrity, and service to him. In tears, he pleaded with God to remember him and reconsider his situation. God, in response to Hezekiah's sincere prayer, sent Isaiah back to tell him that he had heard his plea. God decided to heal Hezekiah and added a miraculous sign as a guarantee. Isaiah instructed that a poultice of figs be applied to Hezekiah's boil as a miraculous sign. Hezekiah's illness was cured and he regained his health. Additionally, as a manifestation of his mercy, God promised Hezekiah 15 more years of life. This extension of time was a direct response to Hezekiah's fervent prayer and devotion to the Lord. This story highlights not only God's healing power, but also his willingness to listen and respond to the prayers of his faithful servants. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments if God has ever manifested in your life after you made a request in prayer. Blessings, and stay with God.